Hey, Shane,
Yes, Vince?
have you seen Barbarian?
No.
Well, you have now.
Yep, I have seen. I don't even know what I've seen, but I've seen it. It has hit my eyeballs and gone into my brain, and it has changed me in a certain way.
I haven't seen a movie that's genuinely scared me this much since I think Hereditary.
Right. I like, as you may remember, we went and saw it in the theater. For those who are, you're hearing this in the future. We just saw this here in late September. Yeah, it's, I literally had to like shake it off a little bit. I was like, we got home and I was like, yeah, I need to get this feeling off of me.
So I've seen this movie twice. So I went and saw it alone and came back and was like, oh, this is so good. You have to come check it out.
What poor sap.
Yeah. What
can I get to come watch this with me and experience this movie?
The guy that I forced to watch movies for a podcast. Him, he shall be my first victim.
He shall be my muse.
So I went and saw it. And my two experiences with this are, one, I go see it alone.
Yeah.
And terrifies me, horrifies me. But fun thing about it, dude on the same, it's a mostly empty theater. Dude on the same row as me, like the other end of the row. He comes in and he's like a big buff dude, like athletic. Look, I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's just checking out a horror movie.
Yeah.
He sits down and the entire movie, he's going, just leave, just go. No, okay, don't go down. No, go, leave. Oh no, okay, go. No. Whole movie. It was amazing. And then the second time I'm seeing it with Shane in a more packed theater with like annoying people in front of us. But
he literally only one time did something super fucking annoying, and then the rest of the time
he was silent.
Everybody else was fine.
But the whole time I'm watching this, and Shane's sitting next to me, and he's just going. He just keeps peering over at me and like looking at me, and like holding his like tensing up.
Yeah.
It was so rewarding for me to be like, okay, good. I wasn't overhyping the scary of it.
I was half a step away from looking through my fingers during the movie because I just couldn't handle. To preface this slightly, I am somewhat of a horror virgin. Not that much. I've done some stuff, some over the pants kind of stuff.
What is that, like looking at Ghostface? Is that what that is?
I've got to second base. Let me put it that way. No, I've seen some horror movies. I'm not exactly unknowledgeable, but like I haven't seen a bunch of the classics, and a lot of newer stuff. I'm not going to go through my whole cred, my film cred list.
No, pull up Letterboxd right now and read them all.
Oh, we'll find out. Like as we go through more recommendations, I'm sure you'll be recommending a plethora of horror movies, especially in this month where
it is Halloween in November.
Yeah.
So here's the whole thing. Because I figure, right, we're going to watch a bunch of these movies in October. Yeah. So let's watch them. Me show you a bunch of them. We'll record this. We'll release it the next month. So Halloween in November kicks off with Barbarian.
Everybody's favorite time of year is Halloween anyway. So we might as well
expand it by a month.
Let's expand it. November is a nothing month. Yes, we get Thanksgiving, but it's just basically pre-Christmas. So let's expand this a little further. Make Halloween longer.
Yeah.
And expand, and get started with a bang with Barbarian.
With Barbarian, a new, and we're going to kind of give a variety. We're going to watch a couple different things from different eras. But Barbarian kicking us off with a new one. And I'm going to say up front, obviously you're listening to a podcast where two dorks talk about a movie for like an hour.
Yes.
Spoilers up front. Go in as blind as you can. Don't even look at a poster if you can avoid it.
Literally.
As blind as you can. Because there's a part in this where something happens and I levitated out of my seat for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if I had seen a trailer, it probably wouldn't have been that affecting.
Yes.
So shut this off, come back after you've seen the movie and watch.
Avoid as much. Look, if you haven't watched it, just turn off this podcast right now. Literally. It is worth going in with no spoilers. It is worth going in as cold as possible. So if you haven't watched it, turn this off. Like, legitimately. I will take the lack of one view.
And come back later after you've seen it.
And come back later after you've seen it, because we're going to have a great conversation about it. Anyway, so to just to kick it off a little bit, I do want to talk about a little bit about the marketing for this movie that did one thing that actually pissed me off.
Yes. Or literally the day we went and saw it.
Literally the day we went and saw it, which I think is kind of part of the reason why we went and saw it. So I was at work. I was just kind of scrolling through YouTube looking for stuff. I was like on my break, and I was just like looking for a quick YouTube video to watch. And I saw a trailer for a movie called Justin Long's new movie. And I was like, if that's the title of the movie, that's really freaking weird. And it's got Justin Long on the image, and I was like, this looks interesting. And so I turn it on, and lo and behold, it's Justin Long, and he's singing, he's dancing. It seems like a comedy. And then
it's like him driving in a car on the beach, and
him driving in a car on the beach, and oh no, he's got to go to Detroit to look at this thing, and blah 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 blah. And out of nowhere, the trailer shifts just quite similar to the way the movie does, into the horror craziness that this movie beholds. And so I was incredibly frustrated. And then, like, by the end of the trailer, you see, like, you know, the new movie Barbarian. Like, I was incredibly frustrated that they just weren't upfront about showing me that this was a Barbarian trailer, because as you have said it, I have said it, and I've heard from everybody else who's seen this movie, go in knowing as little as possible. So the fact that they're literally trying to hide the trailer is really kind of shitty, if you ask me.
Especially considering, right, like, we're filming this a little ahead of time. The day this specific alt trailer comes out is the day they announced they were getting 550 new screens based on word of mouth.
Right.
It's like, no. I'm sorry. Like, I understand, right, the principle of, like, stars have dollar signs over their head. Stars help movies get made because they can help market a movie. So I understand wanting to put your star in a trailer, and this is a fun, quirky way to do it. Like, this isn't Justin Long's typical thing.
No. Unless you count Tusk.
Unless you count Tusk, which I do. But the problem with it is it clearly doesn't need it. It's clearly doing quite well and doesn't need him, especially considering, like, you're right, the culture around it has been like, do not look up a single thing, get in a theater and piss your pants a little bit.
It's like, I understand that, like, okay, like, what is more important to the studio? Trailer views or movie or people buying movie tickets? It's like, if the goal is to get people to buy movie tickets, let the word of mouth do what it's doing.
Especially in a case where it's like, I haven't heard of a movie in recent times that's been this based on word of mouth.
Right.
I mean, you hadn't heard of it until I kind of brought it up, having heard about it from Twitter.
I had literally not heard about it once until, like, it opened and you told me how good it was and that I should go in not knowing a single thing.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly weird way. Like, look, like, we'll get into how good the movie is, but it's just like, I just wanted to bring that up and how it's like kind of a weird way to market a movie, especially one that is, like, so
predicated on this idea of like surprise and subverting expectation.
Yes. So much of this movie is about subverting your expectations.
Like, look, I'll say, having seen it, I went back and watched the main trailer anyway. It really only shows stuff that goes on in, like, the first act.
Yeah.
It's a good trailer in that respect. That being said, there are things in the movie that, like, I had no clue were gonna happen, and, like, not even the twist of the movie. Like, I knew nothing. So when the character's making a discovery, I am in every way making that discovery with her. Like,
right.
It's so good to go into any movie that way, I think. You know what I mean? But if you need to be sold on it, just look up every tweet going, go in blind, because all of them say it.
Yeah. Like you said, like, I mean, the word of mouth is doing so much of the legwork for this. You don't need sneaky little cute trailers.
No, and it's like, yeah, is that a fun idea for a trailer? For sure. But, like, do that week 5, 6 in its run for like a second push.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair. I mean, like, do that for your Halloween push.
Or even the physical push,
or
it's on VOD.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? At that point, that's when you do it, because that's when you want the second legs.
Yes, that's fair.
And the people who've seen it will enjoy the funny quirkiness of that trailer.
Right. I think that would be a fair way to use something like this. And that being said, I haven't rewatched the trailer again. I mean, you saw it. after having seen the movie, the Justin Long's new movie trailer. So I don't exactly remember like how spoilery it was. That being said, it's just like I did get a good idea of like it being like subterranean.
Yeah, you know,
and,
something's
like,
going on.
I know something's in a
underground
basement
and
underground, and there's a spooky monster thingy.
That being said, nothing can prepare you.
nothing can prepare your shorts for this movie because they will be filled with poop and pee by the end.
Yeah, but that aside, right? Like, I also want to bring up just quickly that 2022 has been a nuts year for horror movies.
It has been insane.
I mean, just kind of in a recent push. Also, it's been like Nope, Bodies, Barbarian, Pearl X coming out earlier this year, The Black Phone, and then still coming up, it will have been out when this is released, but Smile, which I'm very excited to see. It has been a like kind of a lot of like people in the horror industry are kind of calling it 2022 being a banner year like 1982 was.
Yeah.
Where it'll just kind of go down as that.
Maybe that's going to happen every 40 years. We'll have another.
It'll be amazing, right? I can get one more in if I stay healthy.
Fair.
Okay, but so now jumping into...
If you stay really healthy, maybe you get another 2.
Yeah, technology's getting better and better every day.
There you go, baby. That's the reason why I want to stay alive.
Yeah.
So that I can be 100 or 108 or however old I'll be when the next horror, like the third,
next horror banner year happens. No, I'm. This is all I guess. This is all I live for. Okay, so jumping into the movie now. Just your, like, you heard me raving about it a little bit. How did it live up to what I kind of like, my level of excitement?
I thought it lived up completely. I mean, like you just said, it's great, it's insane, and go in knowing as little as possible.
Yeah.
Because, like...
But I brought it up a lot.
Yeah. Like, like you didn't really go into much detail other than the fact that you were, like, in love with it. You were
genuinely scared.
Yeah, incensed by it. You were in love and incensed.
Yes.
Which is accurate to me as well. I think, again, like me being a little bit more of a horror verge, I may not have the same depth of the appreciation that you have, especially because like one thing that I've heard a lot and we've already mentioned is like the subversion of expectations. Those expectations aren't built up as much in me as they are with you.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely more familiar with tropes of the genre,
right?
But that being said, I think this goes to like just a filmic level, like a filmmaking audience perception, because that's like what a director does, right? They play with what the audience is expecting. They play with how we perceive things,
right?
And so down to like the casting of Peter Skarsgård.
Bill? I think it's Bill.
Bill Skarsgård. Sorry, Peter's the other one.
Yeah. There's 6 of them. There's Stellan, Peter, Bill,
I can't kick a rock
Stevie,
anywhere in
Johnny,
the world and not hit a Skarsgård brother.
Kubert. How many others? There's so many Skarsgårds.
So Bill Skarsgård, right? Like putting him in this movie, the second he pops up on screen, you're like, oh, he's the fucking bad guy.
Oh, so he's the fucking bad guy.
Okay, cool. And then they spend I thinking, you know, well, it's that expectation, right? And then it's also the writer and director. He's kind of sitting there, and I listened to a podcast of him talking about it.
I wish I would have listened to that. I need to. I need to listen to that.
Do your
episode.
homework, please. No, but he's talking about this as like, he would get to points in the writing process and be like, I don't want to write this movie. And so he would stop and then go, what if this happened? And it's like the weirdest, wildest left turn. And then the movie becomes that.
How soon do we want to actually start saying
no.
what that turn was?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there, right?
Because again, if you haven't seen this movie, turn this off. Like literally right now. Please stop.
Stop listening to us.
So we don't have to keep dancing around it.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is, so right, we think it's him. There's all this buildup. There's these reveals of like a secret basement and then another secret basement.
Yeah.
And
then another secret
and then
basement.
more stuff even further. But the point, right, the whole time we're watching this and she's going down and going down, you're like, why are you doing this? He's gonna trap you.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy. He's pretending to be hurt and luring you down here.
Yeah.
And then he crawls out and he's like scared, and I'm still like, he's the bad guy.
He's gonna like immediately just gonna turn around and stab her.
And then out of nowhere, a 9-foot tall naked woman comes screeching out of the darkness, grabs his head and bashes it into a thing, and then screams in her face. And we cut away to Justin Long,
to him singing in the car and ramping him,
which is like part of what I love about it is the weird structure, because there's 3 of those. You know what I mean? Like 3 points where there's a big reveal and then it takes 5, 10, 15 minutes to get back to it.
Yes.
Before we kind of get into the subterranean 9-foot tall naked woman.
Yeah.
We should talk about the first act because it doesn't really hint at that very much.
Yeah.
If at all, other than
If
there's a point where you see like the door close, but you don't even know where that door leads at that point.
Right.
You just watch it close.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, why does that door do that? It's very subtly answered in the movie in a way I think is really cool. Which we'll talk. It's because the guy who the movie, there's the thing, right? The guy who
owns the house,
the serial killer, the owner of the house, who was also living in the basement. He's trapping people down there,
right?
And so if they were to get out, the door would like if he
auto
happens
lock,
to leave it, it'll close and lock, so they can't get out. Right?
Okay. I didn't even fully.
Yeah, well, I told you like second time. There's like little things that they never talk about, but you're like, oh, that's why that would happen.
Yeah.
Right. Like. Yeah. But the first act sets up this very different movie where you think there's nothing like overly insane. You just think it's going to be that movie where the guy traps the woman in the basement.
Yeah.
In the casting of Bill Skarsgård, again, perfect. Because they spend the whole first act trying to make you believe it's not him. And you go, I kind of like him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he's weird.
But there are times there's things that he does, things that he says that you're like immediately like, which I think is genius. Like there's some really genius commentary in this movie. And that is one of those things about this guy who's like, he's like clearly not trying to be too forward, but like in that he's also like being creepy. His
attempts to be chivalrous is coming across as like, why
would you even say that?
Why would you say that?
Why would you even say it?
You know,
like that?
I love the cut where he's like, I insist, blame it on my upbringing, but I would never, and then she's like, I have a thing about clean sheets. Hard cut to them washing the sheets,
right?
Instead of just letting her sleep on the couch,
yeah,
right. Because the premise being that already a terrifying premise in my opinion, right? I can't imagine.
I'm never going to an Airbnb ever again.
Oh, I'll show you another movie at some point that will double down on that. Yeah, it's this idea of like double booking an Airbnb, and it's in the middle of the night. And a smart thing the movie does is it does not show you the surrounding neighborhood,
which only makes it creepier.
Right?
That scene is so creepy where she looks around. You don't see a single light on in that freaking neighborhood.
You don't even see a house. It's just pitch.
Oh, 100%. Like, the way the movie plays with light
is amazing.
It's so smart and so cool, and that's like your first interaction with the light like that, where it's like it's got that like short throw.
Oh, so often in horror movies, like the characters are fumbling around in the dark, but we, the audience, can clearly see. That is not the case here. If the audience can't see, you can't see.
Yes,
and that plays with putting you in a character's POV and making you experience what's happening to them.
Yes.
So the Peter Skarsgård, or I keep saying Peter, the Bill Skarsgård thing, perfect casting. I can't think of anyone better for that, right?
And shout out to Billy Boy for throwing in some producer credits in there as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, and again, talking about that thing of like actors using their name to get movies made.
100%.
But there's this like line he has. He's like, "What? I'm not some kind of monster." And it's like, dude, you're Pennywise. You can't
literally
hide it.
Pennywise, my dude.
And like the reason he's perfect is he's beautiful, but he's like also like an unholy spawn of hell.
Yeah, like he's a handsome man that looks like he wants to eat you.
It's so and so that is just this brilliant piece of casting.
It's so good
with these like multiple reveals and also
all of the casting, all of the casting.
Oh, we talked about
top to bottom.
Georgia Campbell. I think she's
Tess.
Brilliant in this movie.
She is so good. I'm honestly really, really glad they cast somebody who I had not seen before.
Yeah, right, because like it's a low budget movie, and the director even said he's like, I'm not going to get like Zendaya to come do this.
Which I feel like if like I'd be seeing
Zendaya.
I'd be seeing Zendaya, and I think there's something to be said about like fully getting immersed into this person's like feelings. Having like, because they're just another person to you. They're not. It's not Zendaya. It's not a movie star. It is. It's Zendaya.
And like, there's this thing in this movie that some of my favorite horror movies. You have like Ready or Not or Scream, where like you have this protagonist that you, past being like an interesting character, you just want them to win and survive.
Yes.
Like the whole movie, you're like begging for it because you like them as a character, and she is one of those characters. Like you like her and her personality. She's like seems like an actual person.
Yeah.
With actual problems. No, but that's something I really admire about this movie is the first act feeling very paced.
Yeah.
To like build suspense. You're wondering what the hell is happening.
Yeah.
And also getting to like this character.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think it's so well crafted. Like the casting, the story, the script, like and the performance is so well crafted to fully get you on board, like fully understanding this character. That being said, she makes some decisions I wouldn't have made.
Which are?
The minute, like I would never, there's no world where you'd get me going down in that tunnel.
Okay, I agree with you. That's part of the things I noticed on the second go around.
Yeah.
Of her and Bill Skarsgård, they have this like conversation about her past relationship, right?
Yeah.
Which horror does this a lot, where there's like somebody trying to call you, and you don't. A movie I really like, Hush, does the same thing.
Yeah.
In this, they make it thematic.
Yes.
In a cool way. Where like a big part of the movie, right, is this giant 9 foot tall naked woman. I'm going to say it every time because picture that. It's horrifying. She is not a 9 foot tall supermodel. No, a copy of a copy of a copy, as they put it.
Yep.
Right. So Bill Skarsgård and her have the conversation of, you accept the dynamic of the relationship sometimes that people put on you, right?
Right.
And so like in her situation, it was being just the girlfriend to the strong, tough guy, right? Which is what she's breaking away from by coming here and trying to get this job.
Right.
And then the movie is about this 9 foot tall naked woman forcing people to be like just grown people to be her babies, because that's the one videotape she has of like understanding what relationships are.
Right.
It's like, this is my baby.
Right.
And so the movie is about her breaking free of being forced into that dynamic.
Right.
Right. And so like her going back in the basement is her being, I'm tough, it's like, I'm not scared of
like,
this.
I am capable.
And it's her doing the right thing too. Right. She doesn't now. That being said, another thing I love is Justin Long is a piece of shit in this movie.
Dude, another great subversion. He starts out as a piece of shit, and there's like this moment. There's the moment where he is like I hurt somebody.
Camera pushing in on it.
I hurt him, and like I all I can do is I can be better. I can make it up. I can fix this. And then he immediately goes right back to his piece of shit.
Runs away from her, abandoning her, throws her off the top of the whatever silo thing.
Yeah. Water tower, I think is what it was.
Oh, yeah, water tower. Right. So that is the thing that makes it brilliant, is because there's this principle where it's like, you have to have redeemable, likable characters. No, he doesn't get a redemption arc.
No.
And he dies in a super gruesome way.
Yes.
That's the thing that makes it so smart, right? Is she doesn't understand who he is, because who knows if that would change her opinion, right? But like, he shoots her in this movie, like, somewhat.
Clearly, could have happened to anybody. Like, or like, if you're walking down the hallway, having been through this, and you see somebody in that hallway, I'm shooting, I'm blasting.
No, for sure. Like, it's an accident.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Yeah, but then like but then his immediate thing when he comes up to her, he's like, "Oh, you understand, right? Like, you'll be okay." Like, he's trying to play it off like it's not that big a deal, and it is but it's like, you shot her, dude. I get the situation.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that is like this genuinely brilliant piece of this movie, to add on to the weird structure where there's like 2 first acts. You have the first act at the beginning, introducing the idea, leading to 9 foot tall woman, naked woman in secret basement under secret basement.
Yeah.
And then you jump to him, and you're with him for like a while. He spends like a night and a half in this house that we know something is going on downstairs.
Yeah.
Like we the audience are aware, and we're just sitting there waiting for them, and it never happens until he discovers the secret tunnel.
Yeah.
Right? And then even then they're playing it like a joke of him like trying to sell the house, so he's like square footage, which is a funny joke.
That is this so this was directed by the same guy who directed The Widest Kids You Know, which is like a famous like sketch comedy series. Like this movie plays with humor within this movie, so with so much like with such a deft hand. Like it isn't like it's still terrifying. Like he is being such an idiot, and like what's gonna happen the minute he starts going down those stairs with that freaking tape measure. Where he's headed. What's about to happen, and it's absolutely terrifying. But you can't help but laugh because he's such an idiot.
Yeah, they're putting the second time we're watching this.
Yeah.
In a very different context. Like we're terrified because we don't want to see that thing attack again because it's horrifying. But we're a little bit okay with it happening to him. You know, we're like, yeah, he deserves this.
He is the butt of the joke.
You know what I mean? And like, it even does the thing right. I had a movie. It's if you've seen The Boys, which in the first season of The Boys, right, the Deep goes through that story arc, right?
Yes.
Of like being a sexual abuser piece
Yeah.
of shit, and then he gets sexually abused.
Yes.
And like doesn't necessarily learn from that situation, but like that's the allegory of that. It's pretending to do that, but doing it in a way where you're like, God, no,
Yeah.
I don't want him to be redeemed.
No, he does not deserve redemption.
But they put him on the arc, right? Like he is being in one way or another, like forced to like. I mean, she tries to breastfeed him. And this movie is one of the most cursed pieces of imagery I've ever seen, and it's like that. It's happening to him. The thing where he struggles. Oh, the bottle.
The
When
bottle.
the bottle comes, it's her hair first,
And it's
It's like when they get stuck in this like tunnel, right? And he's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to calm down. Like
Yes.
she again being a smart protagonist,
so
which is
smart.
the best thing you can put in a horror movie.
smart with asterisks.
Okay, but you understand what I mean. Like,
Yes.
she went down there because like a moral quandary.
Right.
She knew it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she went down there because she tried to get help. It
Right.
wasn't her first move. Going down there was not her first move.
Yeah.
And she went down there after thinking she had killed the thing with her car.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like she's like pinned it. If it's not dead, it's not getting out.
Yes.
Moves on.
Turns out that thing is the Terminator.
It is the Terminator, right? Yeah, it'll fall off things and be fine. Superman jump off a thing, catch her, and land on its back, and just whatever, it's fine. But yeah, that's like it takes him on that where that's happening to Justin Long's character. He's having the realization of like I hurt people, and then
Yeah.
he just fucks up again, and you're like, okay, that's it, you're done,
It's
die,
like, you're done. Die,
and then he
kill this guy.
does, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a brilliant move of so many people. Your protagonist has to be likable, or else it won't work, and it's like. Well, one, he's one of the protagonists of the movie.
Fair. My point was going to be like
He's like a secondary character.
He is
but there's
half of the
he's half of the duo of the movie or whatever, and he is a piece of shit, and we want him to die.
Yeah.
And the movie completely works.
Yeah. 100%.
Now, let me ask you this because we haven't really talked about it. Do you think this movie's campy? Like, because it falls somewhere on like a pulp spectrum.
It's
but
like
I don't know if it's a campy.
I wouldn't
movie.
say it's camp because like the jokes are intentional. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I don't know. Like there's
but like something like Evil Dead, right, where it's like big and over the top, and that's camp. But
I don't know.
I've
That's
heard
a
a
good-
lot
that's a
of
good
people
thought.
compare this to *Malignant*, which you haven't seen, so I'm not telling you about. But *Malignant's* a very big, campy movie.
Yeah.
and it just that comparison doesn't ring all that true to me because this feels very like emotionally grounded.
Yeah. I don't know. There like a few years ago when the Met Gala when its theme or whatever was like camp and everybody was having these like these philosophical conversations of exactly what the word camp means. I have still a little confused by all of that discourse. So maybe it's camp.
Yeah, right. But like it just doesn't at least not camp in a traditional way like
Right.
the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are campy.
Right.
It's not that.
But like yeah, like it I don't know, it plays with humor in a way like I don't know. Like I don't know. Is it camp? I don't know. It's like it's so I don't know. It's
But what it is a bit hard to define, which
Yes.
is part of what I like about it.
yes,
you know what
it
I mean?
is so
It-
subversive.
Subversive on like again a filmic level of the casting they choose and how they choose to play that story wise. The editing is pretty weird and unique at
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
The way they shoot it
Yes.
is very broken down into two types. Right, underground
Yeah.
is shot one way with kind of weirder camera things where you like see their hands in the frame like a POV shot.
Yes. Yeah.
But then upstairs
I
is very
noticed
like
that.
clinical.
Yes.
It's very like camera pushing in, camera panning with kind of these wide lenses, and
And then we get the kind of flashback to the like serial killer guy.
it's very bright.
Very bright, very wide. Man,
Very wide.
Those must be like 12mm lenses or something like ultra wide, which gives it like this weird kind of ethereal kind of
Yeah.
quality to it. There's like dreamlike quality to it in this like whatever like 1970s Detroit,
I think
which
it
like
predates that. You know what I mean?
like 60s or 70s Detroit. No, it's gotta be like 70s. I think it's like 70s.
Well, they say the woman was down there for 40 years.
and it's
So into 2020. So it just depends if we're
Yeah.
seeing his like first victims or are we seeing
Right.
the later ones because he had been
Yeah,
clearly doing this.
but
for
based
a long
on like the car that he's driving.
Oh
which is like
yeah,
a
good point.
70s car.
So yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's like that. The aesthetic of that scene, like I love that cut going from this super wide angle in the house from the flashback. So you've got this kind of warped, makes this house look like super long and big, and like it gives it this like what's the word I'm looking for? It gives it like a larger than life kind of feeling, like this what's the word I'm looking for?
Like grandiose.
Yes, yeah, like this kind of mythic quality. And then it cuts and it goes back to, your 35s, 50s, 85s, whatever it's shooting on. And it feels so much more like natural to the rest of the movie. Because like, no, this is a real place. This really happened.
Yeah. And also talking about just kind of things in this movie, I think a lesser director would have shown more of what he was doing to people.
Thank you.
And like, I just love that he opens a door, you hear things, he walks in, door closes, cut back to present time, into the story. It skips that. It gives you the explanation of what's going on, but it doesn't make you watch things.
You see the tapes, you see the camera,
and you watch Justin Long react to one of them.
Yes.
But it doesn't make me sit there and watch footage of it. Where it's like, I appreciate that so much because like, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. And I like that because it's like, that's not what the movie is. And like, that would be a different type of disturbing and gross. And like, it would feel almost exploitive to have to watch it.
That would be gross. Yeah. And I appreciate so much what they do with Justin Long in that scene, or like Justin Long's character in that scene where he's like, you're such a piece of, you're a piece of shit. I'm like, dude,
you did the same thing.
You did. Like, yes, you didn't film it in your dungeon.
Yeah. You didn't kidnap and murder her, but
you
did that.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And Justin Long being entirely unlikable.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin Long, because that making a actually likable human being like Justin Long be such a piece of shit.
He does. Well, the other thing is like, right, if they had kept what he did from us and left that as a reveal, right, we still would hate this dude because he just outright seems like a douchebag.
Yeah.
Which is another layer to that great performance I think he gives. Yeah, man. Like, this is the most out there movie I've seen in a minute.
Yeah. It is so surprising from beginning to end, and is so freaking good the whole time. Like, I hate this movie in the best way.
In a way where you're like, I can't quite stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right? And like, in terms of outright surprises, I like that the real twist comes at the end of the first act.
Yeah.
Instead of like the midpoint shift and the movie becomes something else. It doesn't do that. The structure feeling very non-traditional, and the fact that it's a 9-foot tall naked woman living underground.
Yeah. Who wants you to be her baby.
Bursting out of darkness, right? Like, I don't know about you, not on my bingo card for any movie I've ever watched. Now it will be on all of them on the off chance it returns.
Yeah.
It's that, and it plays on other fundamental fears and hides what's really going on.
Yeah.
The fear of like strangers, and the other the reason she's the only like real named character that ends up surviving.
Yeah.
Because of the thing she says at the beginning where it's like men kind of just barrel through life and women have to be careful.
Yeah.
And the way to survive her was to be careful and calm. And all of the men, even somebody like Bill Skarsgård's character, who is seemingly an ally, more or less. I mean, he's like an artist. He's like talking to her in a not condescending way most of the time.
Yeah. He's more that. Yeah. He's mostly, if not completely, respectful.
One of the things I love about his character, right, is when Justin Long is going through his stuff because he's dead.
Yeah.
He pulls out a copy of Jane Eyre.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's just like this like little touch of like, oh, maybe he is like
maybe he was like a good dude.
Who was genuinely uncomfortable and awkward and like. That being said, who knows, right? Like, that's not the story we're telling. But they want you to think he's the villain, and so they make him do awkward, uncomfortable things.
Yes.
But she clearly likes him.
Yeah.
She clearly ends up trusting him until she has to go down in that basement, and then she's all bets are off.
I just like the minute, like, her being trying to be good and protective. I just like the minute he was like, I'm going to go down there. And you just wait for me. I would have fucking left.
Like, you can prop that door open. I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, it's that I also love early when she first discovers the thing. It's that big shot where like zooms in. She goes, nope, and then it cuts to her just sitting on the stairs where she's like, and then she has to figure out this whole contraption. And another note I really like is when Justin Long gets there, the light bulb that she used to kind of rig up the thing to see down the hallway is burnt out.
Yeah.
So she was down there for a minute.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice touch to the movie.
Yeah.
Other thoughts, other things that you really like, other weirdness, other things you want to kind of dive into that you've seen this very strange
Nothing jumps to mind. Anything for you?
Just in general of like, admiration as we're doing this Halloween in November. We kind of talked a little bit about this, but I think horror might be the best current film genre, at least in terms of like originality within it. You know, it's like, again, this year alone, Bodies, 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 Nope, The Black Phone. All of these movies are pretty original to extremely original. Pearl, X, you know what I mean? Like, X takes a slasher premise and elevates it so far, and then Pearl does something entirely different, and it somehow makes X better.
Yes.
And it's like, it's doing in performances recently in horror movies have been getting better and better between like Florence Pugh, Toni Collette, Mia Goth. I think Georgia Campbell. Like I think she's great in this movie.
She's very, very good.
Kiki Palmer in Nope is wonderful.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya in the movie is also wonderful.
Yeah.
I think horror is doing the most original stuff, and the reasons we talked about, they're so cheap to make. Horror fans are so loyal.
Yeah.
And they almost always make money. It's very rare for a wide release horror movie not to make money.
It is and we talked about this, like from the perspective of a studio giving a creative their money, giving a director their money. It's like, if you're only giving them $1 million and knowing the horror market. The horror fan base, the horror market is so ravenous, is so willing to show up for these movies. It's like, it's such a, like the investment is so low. They're like, they can give them the money and say like, do whatever you want.
Go for it. You know what I mean?
You can just go crazy.
It is a weird thing. Like, you look at it just in terms, if you were to compare it to other genres, it's a weird spike point where like it's way more profitable for the way weirder, like more other concepts. And I think just a lesson I learned from it definitely is taking like what could be a heightened concept for a principle, but telling it, not only using a heightened story of like woman in basement, right? Like no one saw that coming.
Yeah.
But also telling that story in an untraditional way.
Yeah.
It's part of what makes this movie so interesting is the fact that we essentially, at the end of what would be the first act, cut to, because most horror movies could be short films.
Yeah.
They could be scary premise, and then they stretch everything out. So the first little bit's pretty scary to hook you, and the last little bit's really scary to end strong.
Yeah.
This movie refuses to be boxed into that.
Yeah.
Tells a story. It gets to the scariest thing you've seen ever.
Yeah.
And then jumps to something for a long time, and then re-ups the tension, and then takes a break from it, and then shoots off into it again.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that's something I'm going to be thinking about with mine, trying to tell not only heightened stories, but heightened stories in non-traditional ways.
Yeah. And like, I think another cool thing, like we touched on earlier, is the things that I think are really cool that I would love to emulate in the future, is being able to play with social commentary and humor in the way that this movie does,
and also be a fun, scary movie on top of it.
Yes, and not be a movie about the social commentary or about the humor, and having those layer in, and just again like continue with that subversion of those expectations. I thought was done with such a deft hand. Is definitely something worth taking note and looking back to in the future, to learn from, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's, again, originality's cool. Like,
bars
show up.
Bars.
Hot take. You're really brave for saying that, man.
Bars, homie.
Originality's cool.
Yeah.
And horror's doing it right now. And I want every genre to be doing it too. And you'll see it everywhere, but horror feels the most consistently fresh.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think if you're going for originality, I mean, you don't get much more original than this.
No, dude, no. Okay, final question I have about Barbarian before we jump into our B segment.
Yeah.
Just real quick, what non-horror movie do you want to put 9 foot tall naked woman in? Do you have any random thoughts? Because for me, Ford v Ferrari. That's a joke. But
the boy in the striped pajamas.
I want to see her fight Jason Bourne.
No, dude, like she should be the villain of Fast 10.
Yeah. Oh,
the Fast saga.
Give her the Infinity Gauntlet. Let her fight the Avengers.
Well, if you gave her the Infinity Gauntlet, she'd snap her fingers and everybody would be suckling at her teat.
Yeah.
She would have 7 billion teats to suckle from.
Yes, you're not wrong. But no, I agree. Fast and Furious, that would be a really genuinely hilarious. Which other horror icon do you want to see her fight?
Like we started at the beginning of the episode, I'm a bit of a Verge, so I think what do you think?
I would love. There's a couple answers. I would my comedy answers. I would something I love about the Scream movies is Ghostface gets the shit kicked out of him in all of them. I want to see her kick the shit out of Ghostface. That sounds incredibly entertaining to me. The like more hilarious one is an equally invincible but also technically just a person. In Michael Myers. I want her to fight him because I'm pretty sure the only way to kill Michael Myers is to nuke him or shove a grenade down his throat.
Dude's he is a roach.
Yeah,
like he is an actual cockroach.
Does not die. That would be those are my two answers. I want to see her beat up Ghostface, and I want a death. Maybe just bug spray.
I think you need.
Yeah.
Maybe he is just 7 million bugs, like cockroaches, ambulating a corpse. And maybe all you need is bug spray.
I think you cracked the code.
I think I
can't believe we haven't thought of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are kind of my funny answers.
Yeah. No, I think I think Michael Myers is like the perfect. Just Mike Myers. No, just.
I want to see her kick the shit out of Austin Powers for a while.
Out of the Love Guru.
Yeah. No, his character specifically from Bohemian Rhapsody, where he's the music producer. He's trying to give her a career, and she won't have it.
Yeah, love it.
No, but anyway, that's kind of Barbarian. See this movie, learn from this movie. It's so good.
Go in if you've listened to this episode and haven't watched the movie, fuck you.
Yeah, that's on you for ruining your experience.
Ruining the only thing that I love.
Yeah. Oh, whoa, buddy.
I'm just kidding.
But now on to our B segment. Shane, you have a game.
I have a game. We've already. We will be doing kind of the same game that we did last time with but instead of it being for the fast movies, it will be for horror movies. So let's just kick it off. This one you'll get. There's no world in which you won't get this.
I'm going to be really embarrassed when I can't get it.
In space, no one can hear you
Alien,
scream.
it's Alien.
It's literally
okay,
like
cool.
movie.
Starting out strong.
All right. Someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far.
Scream.
Yep. The night he came home.
Do you know if I've seen this one?
I'm positive we literally just talked about
it. Oh, is it Halloween?
Yep.
Oh, which Halloween? Do you know?
It just says Halloween.
Oh,
I don't actually know.
Okay.
I don't.
I mean,
I don't know.
It applies to both, right? But I was just curious because yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool.
Nancy is the only one who can stop it. If she fails, no one will survive.
A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep. This one I feel like.
Sorry, wait. Can I get that one again? A Nightmare on Elm Street, bitch.
Oh, I love it. There we go. Cool. Thank you for getting a clean one. If we didn't have a clean one, I would have been upset. In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near
the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I knew you'd get that one.
Am I good at this?
I'll go to the bottom of this list.
No, never mind. No, never mind.
Check in, relax, take a shower. I don't think you've seen this one, but you know it. Check in.
If I haven't seen it,
check in. Relax.
Psycho.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, shame on me for having not seen Psycho.
How dare you? I'm gonna skip around a little bit on this list. He'll tear your soul apart.
Is it Pinhead? Is it Hellraiser?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Ooh, I like this one so much. Okay. Man is the warmest place to hide.
The Thing.
Yeah, that not
that's
a
awesome.
great,
That's a great tagline.
Such a good tagline. Lucky 13? I think not.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that one's an easy one. Paul Sheldon used to write for a living. Now he's writing to stay alive.
Have I seen this one? Do you know?
We mentioned it earlier today.
Today on the podcast today, or in our life?
When we were at Movie Trading Company earlier, you may have pointed it out and asked if I've seen it. I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
Paul Sheldon used to write for a living. Now he's writing to stay alive.
I'm so embarrassed. I don't know this one.
Do you want to give a wild guess? Any ideas? Any ideas about somebody who's
we talked about
who's a writer who's trying to write to stay alive?
I don't know, dude.
Do you want a hint?
Yes, give me a hint.
It's Stephen King.
Oh, Misery.
Yeah,
Misery.
You should have.
I've only seen it once.
I'm trying to pick something that's really bad, and I don't think you'll get. He wants you for a new best friend.
Have I seen it?
I'm fairly certain you have. I know we've talked about it.
It's not Trick or Treat, is it?
Nope.
No, it's not Trick or Treat. Hint. I just want to.
I don't even know if I can give you a good hint.
It's for a new.
I don't know if I can give you a good hint. I haven't
Oh,
seen
you haven't
this
seen
one.
it.
I haven't seen.
I
this
don't
one.
know. What is it?
Child's Play.
Ah, okay. I should have gotten that one.
This is such a bad for the movie that this is, for the classic movie that this is. This is such a bad tagline. The nation's #1 best-selling book now in the screen's super thriller. You'll never get it.
I have no clue.
It's Jaws. Do you know Jaws had such a bad freaking tagline?
That's unbelievable. A little bit. There's no way that's the official. That's just got to be a alt one, right?
I think that's the
Terrible.
right. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
That's Predator.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good for that movie, especially. Yeah.
Your every fear, all in one deadly enemy.
Is it It?
Yep, that's a good one. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go to the bottom of this list.
Hell yes.
And find one that I'm fairly certain you've seen, if not completely certain you've seen, and see if you can get it.
This is a very fun game. I'm having a very good time.
It's a very good one. May the silence be broken.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's not that hard.
It makes very little sense in context, but
Yeah. It makes literally no
to
sense.
the movie.
Nobody expected it, nobody believed it, and nobody could stop it. The one hope, the only hope. Movie title.
I've seen this.
Yeah. I actually am not positive of that, but I think you have.
How would you know when it came out?
It came out in 1973.
I don't know it then.
Oh, interesting. Okay. There's another tagline on
give me the
Letterboxd.
other-
I'm
give me
going to
the
read
one.
this one. Something almost beyond comprehension is happening to a girl on this street, in this house, and a man has been sent for as a last resort. This man is movie title.
I don't know it, dude.
The Exorcist. Yeah, I feel like you should have gotten that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if you've heard this movie. This is the most the hardest one to get. I don't even know if you've even heard of this movie, but I'm just gonna say it. All your nightmares are about to be transformed into one single inescapable fear.
I don't know. Is there a hint you can give me? That
No,
you haven't
I've
seen it?
never even
Okay,
heard
if
of
you've
this
never
movie.
even heard it, then I very likely
Never
have
even
not.
heard of it.
Okay, what is it?
Howling.
Oh yeah, I know vaguely of what that movie is. Never seen a poster. Never
Yeah.
seen any. Okay, I feel less bad about not getting
It has
it.
a 4.8%.
Throw me a real quick softball so we can end on me getting one.
Softball. The man who made a monster. Frankenstein.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're very welcome.
All right. Fun game. I really enjoyed
Yes.
that. Recommendations. Up front, see Barbarian.
See Barbarian.
I understand it's November, but see Barbarian. Be an
See
adult.
Barbarian.
You know? We're spreading the Halloween joy an extra month. Indulge in
If it isn't still in theaters, go watch the VOD, go rent it, whatever. Hopefully you've already seen it. Watch it again. I don't care.
Agreed.
Screw you. Watch it again.
So for me, because I love spooky stuff, I love the works of Mike Flanagan. So I'm going to theme my recommendations off of Mike Flanagan. And then one other that has to do with Airbnbs and horror movies. If you want a great Airbnb horror movie double feature, watch Barbarian and watch The Rental. The movie's genuinely pretty scary, pretty good movie.
I've heard of it.
It's a good time. My number one Mike Flanagan recommendation, Midnight Mass.
Amen, brother.
To me, it might be one of the most important series I've ever seen. So very, very likely my favorite miniseries of all time.
It is so freaking good.
Personal
I'm
stuff,
right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm
personal
right there with
stuff
you.
means a ton to me. Or just look through Mike Flanagan's catalog. He's got a ton of great stuff. His Netflix stuff specifically, really solid. So
there's
The Rental
one exclusion in that list for me.
for you.
For me.
you.
Don't watch Dr. Sleep. I hate that movie.
That's fine. I casually enjoy Dr. Sleep. I don't have any hard opinions on it.
If you like Dr. Sleep, at me, we will fight.
He's not kidding. He's putting on brass knuckles.
I am
right now.
literally. I'm putting on brass knuckles. I'm putting on a helmet. I'm ready.
Wow,
No,
he's shining. He's shining, guys.
but yeah,
So anyway, The Rental and Barbarian double feature.
Yeah.
Or Midnight Mass, and if you super love Midnight Mass, which you better, then just go through a lot of Mike Flanagan's other miniseries and Netflix movies. That's kind of where I'm at. Shane, recommendations from you.
I would say, like, I've already recommended Pearl, but if you haven't seen X and Pearl, watch X and Pearl. Those movies are so freaking good, especially knowing that Maxine has been greenlit. It's going to come out eventually in the future. Just shout out to a tiny budget. I mean, like, look, $1 million is $1 million, but we're talking about movies.
Very little money.
It's a tiny movie.
Very little money.
And both of those movies are phenomenal. They stretch that money so well. That movie looks like it costs so much more than it does. So I would say, if we're in keeping with horror recommendations, I would say X and Pearl. If you haven't seen them, go watch them.
Watch
They're
X,
so good.
then watch Pearl, then
Yeah.
watch X again for a deeper experience.
Truly,
I
truly.
fully straight up. I think that's the way
100%.
to go. Yeah, dude. Anything else? Any other things you've been checking out? Music, books?
I'm still obsessed with the band Idols. I'm still obsessed with the band Black Midi. I just got recommended an artist named Ryan Scott. I'm about halfway through his album. It's very, very, very good. He's got this kind of like 70s rock kind of vibe, very guitar forward, but not like super heavy distortion or anything like that. He's very, very talented. There's somebody that his vocals sound like. There's an artist that his vocals sound like, and I can't place it. I can't figure out who he sounds like. That being said, he's got a great voice, and I really, really like him a lot. I would check him out. And then in terms of books, I've just been listening to the audiobook for The Hobbit. I don't know if I mentioned that.
I think you did, but
Been listening to The Hobbit, classic.
You're a slow listener.
I'm a slow listener. So yeah, I've just been listening to the Hobbit. So
there you go, man. So look, you got a ton of stuff to check out. We're going to be doing more spooky stuff for the rest of November for Halloween in November.
Hell yeah.
Last thing I'll recommend. What Is Us, our podcast.
Hell yeah, brother.
Recommend this. I recommend recommending this. It'll make you feel good.
No, like, share, and subscribe in all the places.
Smash that like button.
Freaking smash that like button.
Anyway, check this stuff out or don't. I don't know. Live your life.